Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be showing you how I actually created this 3D map using Figma and Phase.com, and this video is actually brought to you by Phase.com. It's a Figma plugin that you can actually use to animate anything. You can actually use it to convert all your Figma file into a full-fledged prototype without kind of having multiple screens that you have to link to this one, determine whether it's not smart animation, whether it's going to be hover effect, all this kind of stuff. So you're not going to do it on Phase.com. All you need to do is just import your Figma file into Phase.com and animate anything you want to animate. It's pretty much very easy to do, and it's very easy to understand. One thing about Phase.com is that it's entirely free, so try as much as possible to pay attention on how I actually use Figma and Phase.com to achieve this prototype in just 30 minutes. So we're going to try as much as we can to run very fast, and this is the file that I used, and as you can see, this import from Figma one. It's very easy. So I'm going to actually move back to the original file. So I created this using Figma. All of this is just created with rectangle tool. So I'm going to show you how I actually created that. So the next thing that I'm going to also show you is this truck. You can actually create this on Figma, but it's going to take you a lot of time to create. But just because I wanted to show you how to think outside the box, or how to expand your creativity, or think of anything, you can just anything and use it to show your capacity, or use it to show what you can actually do in Figma, what you can actually do as a UI and UX designer. So because this space is just for the creatives, you need to be highly creative to succeed in this space, right? So now this was actually gotten from Pinterest. I picked this from Pinterest. So if I hit enter, you will see how I actually collected this. So I brought this image, then I decided to pick the truck facing left and also the truck facing right, because I need them to be in different positions to achieve the truck moving effect. So now I just kind of cropped out the one that I don't need. And if we go by the original file, so this is what the original file looks like. I'm going to open this up completely, and once I'm done, I will hit enter. Remember, it didn't come as a PNG file, so I actually used this plugin, Icon 8 background remover, this plugin. So I used Icon 8 background remover to kind of remove the background. So if you're new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe. It's not gonna cost you anything. It's just gonna keep motivating me to push out some content like this, and trust me, I'll be sure to push out some good content that will help you to upgrade your design skills. You're going to definitely learn a lot when it comes to prototype and when it comes to UI and UX design. You're going to learn a lot about user experience design. It's a whole lot, but I'm just going to find a way to break it down for you to understand. This is my promise once you subscribe to my channel. So now I'm going to also show you how I cropped this. So once you've cropped it with background icon 8 background remover, you will now have to crop out this individually, just like this. So once you're done, just double click and come here and hit crop. By default, it stays on fill. Now we're going to move it to crop, and once you move this to crop, you can actually now close out on the ones that you don't want. So once you're done with that, you now have something that looks like this. Then if we have to get the other one that is facing right, what we're going to do is just to hit enter and move this up. So now we have this facing left and right. Now that is part one. Make sure to follow me. So now I'm going to also show you how I created these rectangles to be in a 3D format. So what I did was just to pick a rectangle and just draw a rectangle. Maybe looking at this you feel like it's impossible to achieve, but I'm going to show you how I actually achieve that in Figma. So what I'm going to do now is to double click on this rectangle, then I'm going to slant it. So make sure to slant this. So to move, like to come up with a neat prototype, what you need to do is to bring this in. Now you see, you need to use the angle on this truck to know how you're going to lay this rectangle. So what I mean is this. So once you double click on it, so this is actually the angle that would be suitable for this truck. You don't have to make it straight. So now, so that it will move as if it's just like the visual is just going to be very, very cool, right? So what I'm going to do now is just to make sure that this is straight. And once we are done, we will just add a little bit of corner radius of maybe 2 or just 5. Yeah, 5 is better. I think 2, because I don't want to make one end more curved than the other. So what I'm going to now do is just to move this guy out, and we're going to use color picker to pick. The reason why I actually chose this color is because it kind of blends with the color of this truck. So I don't want to use like plain white or all those stuff. It's going to throw this the truck off entirely. So now what I did was to select this, come here, and I picked this color, just now walk around it a bit. That was how I actually achieved this color. So what we're going to do now is just to basically pick on this, and we'll now watch. You now see how this blends very well. So now I'm going to now move this guy out because we're done with that. Now the next thing you're going to do is just to add a little drop shadow. So this drop shadow, we are going to leave it at 4, then reduce this and leave it like this. So the next thing you're going to do is to select the whole of this frame, then give it this background color. I think that's not what I used, so I'm just going to pick this because I want to use exactly the same thing. So once we are done with that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to duplicate this. So I'm going to duplicate this. Make sure that this is not stacked like this, because if I bring this thing here, it's not going to make sense. So what I'm going to do now is to push this guy out. Make sure that it's on the same line with this one. So this would be the road, right? So now once we are done, so if you put this guy here, you see it looks like a road. So I'm just going to bring this here, bring this here, and set this to this point. So once I'm done, I'm just going to pick this. We're going to actually look on this. We're going to be looking at this while we do that. So just pick another rectangle. Yeah, pick another rectangle, pick color. Now we're going to do the same thing to make sure that it kind of blends with this one, right? Now I'm going to make this slant a bit also. What you're going to check is make sure that this and this is still the same, on the same place. So this one, we want to have this one like this. So I'm just going to make sure everything is properly set. Yep. So once I'm done with that, I'm just going to add a little bit of corner radius. I'm just going to say 2. What did we use here? We used 2. We're going to also use 2 here. Just going to use 5 here. Yeah, so once we do that, next thing is to add drop shadow, and we are going to reduce this to probably 5%, or just leave it at 10%. That's what we could have done here, but yeah, just for consistency you just have to maintain one, but I'm going to reduce the opacity just to run fast. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to pick this one, duplicate it. We're going to run with that, and I'm going to just stretch this and make sure this is okay. So once you set that, I think we need to open up this guy. Not looking so great, so I'm just going to, yep, I think we have it now. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to pick this guy again and duplicate it and place it somewhere around this place. So I'm just going to make sure that this, say this, okay, so I have like 1 2 3, but I'm just going to make this current one just be in a different position. So yeah, so once I'm done with that, make sure to set this right, and I'm going to duplicate this one, duplicate this again, and we're going to have something that flows from this direction. Then now just put this guy right, then put this now we're actually getting somewhere. So once you're done, you set that, then the next thing I'm going to do is to duplicate this one and place it somewhere around here. So for those that doesn't understand what we're actually doing, we're just trying to create the position of the road. That's what I'm actually trying to do. So once I've placed this one, I'm just going to duplicate this and bring it somewhere here, just to show that our road network is very, very strong. So I'm also going to duplicate this and place it somewhere around here. Pardon me, I have a cough, so my voice is not going to be great today. So just pull this down a bit, and that's it. So the next thing we are going to do, we finished our root network, and the next thing we're going to do, I think this is not properly set. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to make sure that this works and this also can fit in here. So you see the issue now on this aspect, we didn't get this angle right. This is not going to be right. So look at it, we didn't get the angle right. So to correct that, what I'm going to do now is to make sure that I pushed something like this, and I bring this guy, move this guy again. Yeah, so now we're going to work with this angle for this. So we're going to work with this angle to adjust this once. So once I have the angle sorted, we're now going to delete this and also delete this. We need to sort this guy very well and make sure that this is also cool. Yeah, So this is okay. So once you're done, you see this one is also kind of not properly fitted. So what we're going to do is to adjust this and also adjust this. Right, so now it's time to duplicate this, duplicate. So we're going to leave this one here and also duplicate. Now we're going to place this one here, duplicate. I don't know where this is actually running to, so we're going to place this one here. So we are actually done with this. So what we're going to do now is to make sure that this fits properly, and I'm going to bring this in somewhere here, and this try here and also try here, then here. Yeah, so all good. The next thing I'm going to do is just to make sure that everything is properly fitted, right? Then so once we are done, I'm just going to move this out. So once I'm done, I'm going to pick the pen tool, then draw a straight line. There is a gap here, but we're going to sort that out later. So have this somewhere here, and we're going to use pure white. Set this to 3. Now this is at the back, so I'm just going to copy it, delete, then select the frame and paste it inside there. So now it's here. So once we are done with that, I'm going to click on this, set this to dash, and we're going to give this spacing to be 20, and we're going to set this to be 20. Yeah, so we're going to make it a rounded edge, and the end point we just leave that. So once we are done, we're just going to set this to 4. Yeah, 4 makes sense. So we're going to use this line to actually retrace some of these things better. So now I pick this, and I'm going to draw from here, from this end to this end, then from this end to this end, from this end to this end, I'm going to draw another long. Then this one is going to stay somewhere here. So once we're done, I'm just going to click my pick tool, then position everything right. So once that is set, select everything, hold your shift and command button or control button to multi-select like this. So once I've selected everything, I'm just going to do the same thing. So set this to 4, or I think we used 3, then this should be dashed. We use 20 here, and we use 20 here, sorry, 20, then rounded edge, and that's it. So we now have this set up. So what we're going to do now is to retrace this stuff. So some of this is not right. Look at the angle, the way it went. Let me move this to make sure. Oh my god, so some of this stuff is not inside. So select this and this, copy them and delete it, then paste it back. So now we have the two of them inside. So what we're going to do now is to make sure that everything is properly set. So we're going to reduce this, do some adjustments. So we're going to look for this one also to do some adjustments. And this is actually not on a straight line, so it looks, look at how this one looks, and this one actually doesn't look great to me. So if I put this and put this, so I'm just going to bring this out, so just readjust this. Yeah. What else is remaining? Just feels like something is missing. Okay. So I would use the angle on this, because it looks like this one is down, this one is straight. So I'm just going to use the angle on this. So we're going to delete this, bring this guy, because they share the same angle, bring it somewhere here. So that's where we're actually missing the point. Then duplicate. So you see where we missed the point. So that means we're going to still adjust this. So the same thing with this, we're also going to get rid of it. Let's just leave it. Then we use the angle to adjust. Right. So this is actually getting on our way. So we're going to use these two. We're just going to get rid of it to make sure we get our landscape very well. Then set this. I'm going to get this to this point and make sure this is set properly. Yeah, more like it. I'm getting there. So ideally, what you would have done is to make sure that this and this is actually on the same line. So this is what we could do to make sure we are getting the same line. So once you're done, you just push this. Right. So do the same thing for this. I think we're going to delete this, get rid of this, and get rid of this. Let's just get rid of them. Then use this. I think this side is sorted. I'm just going to delete all of this. Then we use this angle. So this also would go. Sorry about that, but we're going to work very fast now, just so we get everything right. So this is okay, and this angle, same thing. So what we're going to do now is to duplicate this one and bring it here. Now this angle and this angle is not the same thing. Look at it. So we need to get this right. Yeah. So once that is sorted out, we'll bring it somewhere here. Make sure that this and this is the same line. So the next thing we're going to do is to bring this guy and duplicate it, then set it somewhere here. Then we're going to duplicate this one again and push here. So once we have that, we can now stretch this guy off the road like this. So the next thing we're going to do is to bring this one again and set it here. So you see this one and this one is not the same. Look at it, the angle is not the same. So we just need to make sure that this angle gets the same with this. So look at it now. So it's close now. So what we're going to do is to set this here, and I think we need to bring it somewhere here. Then this would now go all the way to this point. Right, so once we are done with that, I'm going to now sort these guys out. And also move. So make sure that these two ends are close. So you see they're not. So we're going to adjust. Then duplicate this one. So now we've gotten what we're actually looking for. It's time to now use this. We need to also sort this place. I feel like it's not straight. Okay, we use 3 and not solid 20, and we say 20. So once that is done, I'm also going to do the same here, do the same here, then do the same here. So they will have a problem here. I've already spotted that. We're going to solve that problem. So trace this, then this, okay. So once we have all of those stuffs done, we will now solve this problem. This didn't fit in, so a lot of them didn't think this 2 is missing. So we're just going to copy this 2, copy it, delete, then select this and paste it back. So we're not going to use this. I know some roads are not straight, but in real life, but we're just trying to be as close as we can to getting it right. So this, there's another issue somewhere here, and we need to also sort that out. I think this needs to go back. Then draw this. So yeah, So now we have the truck. We can now place the truck inside, and this one this way, this way, this way. Yep. So once you're done, you can actually place the truck inside, duplicate this one, place it somewhere here. We're going to duplicate this one, place it somewhere here, somewhere here. Then yeah, so this one will go straight to this place, and this one will go straight to this place, and this one will also go straight here. So we also need one coming from this end. And once we actually have that sorted out, we're going to pull this out. I'm just going to duplicate this. So this actually was also done in Figma. Don't think if you want to know how I actually created this box, you can actually watch some of my videos and you will see how I actually created that. So I'm just going to call this panel, and we'll move it here. So I'm just going to show you how the end product would look like. This is what it will look like, but it's time to export to phase.com. So what we're going to do now is just to get rid of this. We're going to delete it rather. So we just bring this one, delete this one, delete this one. So I'm going to just export this. I'm just going to call it truck 1. Then this one we're going to export. We'll call this truck 2. So once you're done with this, the next thing we're going to do is to come here and come to plugin. Then we're going to search for phase. So phase export. So once you click on that, it's preparing it. Now export to phase. So we're going to click this export. It's going to automatically open phase.com for you. So if you don't have an account, it will ask you to, it will prompt you to create an account. But since I already have an account, it's just taking me straight to where I'm going to do the whole editing. So this is what phase looks like. And just like I rightfully said from the beginning, that they are the ones that are actually sponsoring this video, and please make sure to actually try them out and see how you can actually use it to leverage your productivity and showcase more of what you can do with when it comes to prototyping. If you can think it, you can actually design it. You just need to find the right tool to do that. So once we are done, we're done with so I'm going to walk around. I'm going to introduce some of the features that Phase has. So not all of them, but this is, if you want to animate, you just click on this animate. So if you want to design, this is what the design aspect looks like. So since I've already imported this, you can actually see that this is showing from import from Figma. So what we're going to do now is to go click here, and it's going to open the truck 1 and the truck 2. So we just open it here, and boom, that is it. So it's right inside this place. So we can actually place this right where we want it. Then duplicate and place this guy here. Then remember, we are not animating, we are just placing it. So when we start animating, I can actually show you what you're going to do. So this one stays somewhere around here, or do we need anyone here? No. So now it's time to do the magic. So I'm going to click on animate. So there's one pretty thing I like about Phase. You just need to determine the end and the beginning and the end. So we're going to set this to this very point. Let it start. Everything starts from 0. So not everything starts from 0, but this one, it should start from 0. So we move. So you see this stuff. See this? When you click on it, just select this, click on it and drag it. And from here, what you're going to do now is to place it to this point and you move. So you see, so this is something that you have to determine the end, the beginning and the end. So let it end here. So this will be the beginning and this will be the end. So you can actually adjust this so it moves properly. So I'm going to show you what we just did. So take this back and play. So you see it's kind of runs very fast. I'm going to show you how to slow it down. So to slow this down, what we need to do is to decrease this seconds. So I'm just going to decrease this to probably 30. So now you see these have actually collapsed. So we're going to turn this linear and also bring it somewhere here. Now take this back, and when you press play, you see the speed have drastically reduced. So now it's more realistic. Trucks doesn't run like Ferrari. So now we're going to now push this to make sure it doesn't climb on this. So if you want to recreate this and share it on LinkedIn, tag me and I'm going to give you my feedback. Feel free to do that. You can also tag Phase, you can also tag me to actually see what you've actually done. And this is a way to actually promote yourself on that space, LinkedIn. There's no way people will know what you can actually do if you start promoting yourself. You are the only person that can do that for you, right? So notwithstanding, let's continue with what we're doing. So this gets to this point. So once we are done with that, is set. So this one kind of starts from, let it start from here, let it start from here, and we'll move it a bit, then let it end here. Now when you move this, look at it. So if you're not careful enough, there is this another key string here. So what we're going to do now is to delete this one. So what we now have is this 2. So this is actually staying here. So I'm going to also delete this because I don't want it to move back and move front. Look at what that could have done. So let's move it. So look at what it will do in the real sense. Just look at what it's going to do. So I'm going to start from here. So look at what it's going to do. If you're not careful, you'll hit this roadblock. And the way you can actually solve it is just to pay attention on how I'm actually doing this in Figma. So you see, so it's moving fast from here. So from here to here is slow, then here it speeds up. So what you're going to do now is just to move this back. Then you see this, if you don't want it to start here, you just move it out from this place. Then take this to this point. Set this here. If you want it to start here, you see this actually starts here. So we just don't want to make double keyframes. So now once I select this, the linear, and we are now going to play it again. So play, let's just take this back. So both of them is now moving. So you see how pretty much very simple it is to actually animate with Phase. It makes it very, very simple, and ideally you kind of understand what you're doing. But in Figma, I kind of struggled a lot when I was trying to learn how to prototype in Figma. I'm not trying to say this just to make you to move away completely from Figma. You still can't do without Figma, right? But I'm just trying to tell you that this is pretty much very easy to use Phase to animate. This is just pretty much 1 out of 1001 thing you can actually do with Phase. So now I'm just going to pause it here. Then it's time to, when this actually gets to this point, let this one start coming out. So we're going to move this, select this guy and move it a bit. You see where it started. Now move to this very point. See this? You're going to push it here and set it back. Now let's play. So you see that stuff that I told you, this one is going back. When it come here, it will start going forward. Look at it, it's going back. If you're not careful, you're going to experience this. Now see, it will start coming forward. So let's try and solve this issue. Look at it here. So at this point, there's something that happened here, so we need to actually delete this one. Sorry, select this one and delete it. So now it's going to move forward to this very point. Then this one kind of moves to this point. Okay, we're going to play it. So you see this one is coming, so make sure the two of them doesn't collide. Look at it, make sure that the two of them doesn't collide, and the only way to actually make sure that it doesn't collide is to get this far from here. Then for this, we're going to determine I'm going to pause it here, then this one, select this, it shouldn't start from here. Then this, we're going to delete it. Let's find out if, okay, we're going to select this. Oh, it has 4. So now take this back, then see this one, delete it. So what I did now is, when these cars move to this point, let this one start moving. So let's see. So now it's moving back. So I'm just going to push this to this point. Then I'm going to play. So the other one is coming. Look at this first two is actually coming. So I don't want it to collide. So at this point, it has passed this area. Then this one can actually move to this end. Right, so now let's do this too. So select this one and move it. I'm going to delete this, then set this to this point, then this, delete it, then set this one here. So this is this, so we'll push it here so that it doesn't collide with this one. Then for this one, we move it a bit. You see this one? Just move this pass here. So there's this, don't allow this to have a double keyframe. So I'm just going to, then this is supposed to, oh sorry, I'm just going to go back, go back, go back, go back, and go back. So let this one start from here. So we're going to go back again. So we'll leave it here. So because we want to move this one, so take this out from animate, then push it out completely, then animate. So now we can actually just move this to this very point. Look at this. So for you to see what you're doing outside, so you see this. So once you select it, yeah, once you select it, you can actually now move. So I'm going to select the frame and hide it. Set this to this point, then move, then take this back. Yeah, it's something that you can actually play around with, but just make sure that it doesn't move front and move back, so you don't have to kind of, you know, when you start learning a new tool, it kind of use it over and over and over again before you can actually master what are the tricks on how you can actually use it. If you encounter any roadblock, you can actually easily solve it. Even as Figma is, some people still we all kind of get to this roadblock at some point, and it's not that we don't know how to solve it, but we actually know where to pick and where to click and things falls back to the same position. So once we are done with that, make sure that if this and this is on the same line, it's definitely going to collide at some point. So what I did was to move this guy here, move this one, and move this one here. We can actually set this to this very point, and if we play this, set everything to the beginning, and we'll play this, look at all of them coming out. Now you see, we are not going to check the one that collide. This is going to likely collide. So now they've actually collided. So what I'm going to do now is to determine which keyframe is that one. So this is it. So I'm just going to set it to run much slower than the rest. So now you see, let's see what happens. So let's see if this one passes before it gets to this point. So it kind of collides again, so it doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to do is to find this one, this, and kind of reduce this. Then let's play it again. So you see, that one is running faster. It will now pass before this one gets to that very point. So none of the trucks is colliding again. So you just have to play around with this to figure out how you can actually professionally make things set it right. And I hope you can actually try this. I can't wait to see what you can come up with. And once you're done, the next thing you're going to do, because I feel good with the speed, I can actually decrease it again to 40 and move things around. Let's play it, because if you move this, you just have to play and see what happens. Okay, so this one has passed, and we're not having any collision. So what we're going to do now is to set this at 33 seconds. So we're going to set this at 35 rather, or just say 32 seconds, 32. Yeah, so I don't want to waste a lot of time before it starts all over again, because we are exporting as GIF. So what you're going to do, once you're done, select this and hit export. So on the export, you're going to see what you've actually prototyped. That is just us doing the prototyping. So if you're waiting for me to multiply the screens, wait no more, because we're already done. Yeah, as fast as that. So what I'm going to do now is to set this. You can actually make it MP4 or GIF. So I'm just going to choose GIF. So what we'll call this is truck movement, or truck. So everything is set, transparent. We just set it to off, loop on, speed, leave it at 1. Then frame rate, you can actually decrease the speed or increase the speed from here, but I'll just choose to leave it at 1. Then start time 0, end time 32 minutes, 32 seconds. So exports. So it's preparing the export. What happens is that it will not export it as a GIF file. Go back to your Figma and import it back to your Figma and play it. So I'm going to show you all that. So while it's still kind of trying to export the whole stuff, I'm just going to tell you about Phase. Phase is just basically one of those tools that I feel like you can actually use it to increase your productivity, right? Instead of wasting too many times trying to do the whole smart animations. And the funny thing is that some people still doesn't know how to use smart animation, and Phase is your best call to action, right? So you can actually use Phase to bypass those frustrations. You will not get that in Phase. You're going to definitely use it to prototype things to move smoothly. If you want to make some loading effect, if you want to make some stuffs, all those stuffs they see on Lottie files, you can create yours in Phase. And the good thing is that you can actually export into Lottie. So I think yeah, so if you want to convert this to Lottie file, so you can say it lottie.json.lottie. So all of those stuffs is something that you can do on phase.com. Make sure to try it out. It's free. I'm not paying anything, and you're not signing up to pay anything. So it's entirely free platform. So once we're done, we're back to Figma. So this, I'm just going to delete everything because we will not be needing this again. Also delete this. Now what we're going to do now is to import what we just did. Look at it here, track.gif. So once that is done, select this and place it. Just use this to place it. So get this in. Here is another reason why I would actually strongly recommend Phase, is because when we want to demonstrate how this panel works, it doesn't disrupt the movement of the car. So I'm just going to still show you what I mean. So let's see what this looks like. So I think I need to actually expand this a bit. Yeah, there's this dark line on the left, I think right hand side, so I just need to clear it. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to preview it. Yeah, let's see what we did. Yeah, so it's working and everything seems right now. So if I would recommend, if you want to download any truck, you download high resolution truck image, and it's going to make it look very sharp. So this is how you can actually use Phase to prototype anything you want to prototype, and I would recommend you to use it and try it and see what you can actually come up with. If you want to make your own Lottie files, you can actually use phase.com to make it. And the good thing about making some stuffs to share online, especially on LinkedIn, is so that most of these hiring managers can actually reach out to you. So I mean, anybody that have any project that he or she wants to do can actually reach out to you and see what you can actually do, and without even submitting CV, content tutorial CV. Just make sure you try it out and post on your LinkedIn account. Make sure to follow me, and I'll be glad to make more videos like this and share. And if there's anything that I feel that could be helpful to you, I won't hesitate to share it. And I'm going to see you on my next video. Bye for now.